Hello my stamping friends, it's Susan with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have a fun show and tell project to share with you today. We're going to be using two of my favorite sets at the moment, this Daisy Garden background stamp, so it's a large stamp, and the Biggest Wish sentiment stamp, which it's got these bold print fonts, and then we've got the cursive font as well. So we're going to use these and make a couple of fun cards. So the idea for today is for us to stamp directly to some designer series paper. Have you ever done that before? It's really kind of fun. You know, our papers have two sides, which is always convenient for us crafters when we don't really know what we want, but we love both sides. So sometimes it's hard to choose. So I've got two different color combos going. I'm using Mango Melody, and then I have a piece of the Tulip Fields DSP, which is in the spring catalog, right? We've got all these fun, bold prints on one side, but the other side has a more subtle print, and this is the one I'm going to stamp on today. And then for my green card, I've got Evening Evergreen, and I've got a sample of the Bloom Where You're Planted designer series paper. So again, on one side, we've got this great brick wall pattern, right? That could be used all on its own or stamped on. But I'm actually going to use the darker side, which is this two-tone green. So it's the Evening Evergreen and the Garden Green. So watch what I do. I'm going to do our stamping and embossing first, and then we're going to dress these up and make some so cool cards. Okay, so I'm using my Stamparatus. When I use these big background stamps, I find it easier to use the Stamparatus to kind of position everything, and then if I need to stamp a second time, I don't have to worry about smudge marks or misplacing it or not having it go exactly where I want. That's one of the fun bonuses of using a Stamparatus, okay? So I've got this. So I'm going to do my Mango Melody first, and I'm going to want this kind of right there, more or less. So I'm just going to kind of watch where my stamp is going down. I can move it a little left, a little right. I'm not going to get the whole image, which is fine. My paper is smaller than my whole image, but I want to fill that piece of background paper. So I'm just going to put my magnet right there. Help me hold that in place while I ink up my stamp and then stamp it down. Okay, so I'm just going to apply my Versamark ink to my large stamp here, and I am inking it everywhere. I don't want to have to try to guess where ink goes and where it doesn't go. I'm just inking it everywhere. Bring that over and I press it down. Okay, and the nice thing about the Stamparatus is it also lets you put pressure on your stamp, and it's not going to rock. You're not going to end up with those edges that are smudged. If you have a little more ink, it's just going to be nice and flat. So I've got that, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this out, and before I go on to the next part, I'm going to go ahead and dust it. So I'm just going to put some more white embossing powder down on top of that. I've been busy doing lots of projects with embossing lately, so I've got lots of powder all around my room, but I would just want to dust this image before it dries. Okay, and if you need to come back and do more, just do a second shifting of those embossing particles over the top of your ink, and then just give it a little tap. Okay, so you can see I've got that all done there, and now I'm going to bring in my green piece. Same idea. I want to first position this in my Stamparatus. I'm going to bring this over and make sure I'm going to get the top. Now this one's narrower, so I'm actually going to shift this over this way because I want more of this side of my stamp, but whatever you want, it's not necessary, but I'm going to kind of do it like that. So I'm just going to put this down one more time, just make sure that's going to clear the magnet. I'm going to adjust that a little bit. Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to ink this up again, and then I'm going to stamp it on the green DSP. So you could stamp on DSP with just straight old ink. That would be fine. But I just wanted to dress these up with the heat embossing because I really thought it made the image pop. So you'll see in just a minute. So I'm going to press this down to my DSP section, And you can see I picked one that was kind of muted for color and not a lot of texture, but this one actually has quite a bit of design on it before I stamp the daisies on top. So this is really kind of going to be a busy panel. Okay. So let me move my Stamparatus out of the way. And so this one I'm going to dust with white as well because I really want it to show those daisies off. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in a piece of scrap here to do my embossing on. So bear with me while I heat this up and melt that embossing powder. Watch how it pops. Okay, so here we go. So you see how embossing that image really made it pop on that DSP layers? And did you see as while I was embossing, I was kind of tipping this one up because I wanted the shine of my light to show me that I was actually getting all of it melted. There's a lot of detail in this project. Okay, let's go ahead and do the green one first. All right, so I have my card base, and I used the Tasteful Textures embossing folder just to give it a little bit of contrast, right, to the smooth. I just wanted a little contrast. You're not going to see much of it. And then I've got some pieces of Garden Green and Whisper White, basic white, white, right, white cardstock. And I've got this little white bow that I've pre-tied. So this one I cut with the Tasteful Labels die. So that's going to be my sentiment. These are going to be part of my background. And then I've also got this fun medallion that is cut from the Encircled with Beauty dies. These are kind of fun. Okay, this one fits here. But I like using it as a embellishment in my card. So we're going to use that too. Alright, so there's all my pieces I showed you. These out of the way. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is this is going to go down the middle of my card, right? Now you don't have to do anything but that. You could just do that and put a sentiment on it and be done. I'm going to do a little more for you today, but there you go. There's my panel. Now it's a little bit longer, my card, so once I put it on, I'll trim it off. Now I've got these two pieces of 3/4 inch by, I don't know, 3 inches maybe? That's centimeters. Let's see. 3.5. So 3.5 by 3/4. It'll be in the blog post, so don't worry about having to write that down. And of course, your cards could be a little bit different. But I just had some scrap green, so I just grabbed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down in the center, and I want these to kind of create like a cross panel behind, right? Just to have those two colors together from the paper. So here's a way of doing that. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to put some adhesive, maybe. Let's see. Is it dry? It's good. All right. I'm going to put some adhesive, and I'm using liquid adhesive so I can kind of position those as I slide them on the back. Okay, so here's my piece. And I want to take this piece, and I'm using my grid paper. Okay, I've got my grid paper. I'm lining this edge up with a line. I've got this, and I'm just going to put this so that it's hanging out. See, I want to shift it up a little. So I've got 4 boxes up, 4 boxes down, and 2 boxes out. Okay? Doesn't matter what you choose as long as you kind of aim for doing the same on both sides. So again, I've got my grid paper. Okay, I got to shift it over a little bit so it's on the line. I'm coming 4 boxes down, 2 boxes out. I need to make a little adjustment because I'm not quite straight. Use those lines to help you line it all up. Okay, 4 boxes down, 2 boxes out. I'm just adjusting that, and then I'm just going to press that down. Okay, and now I'm going to add some more adhesive to the back and to my sides because I want it all to adhere. I'm going to flip this over, and then I'm just going to put it down on my card. So right in the middle, the best I can. Again, with that liquid adhesive, I can kind of smush it around a little bit to get it where I want it to go, and then I flip it over, give it a good rub, get all those layers to adhere together with that liquid adhesive. Okay, and there's my front panel of my card, and I'm actually not that long, but I just hang over a little bit. So I'm just going to give this a quick little trim. Just go right along the edge of your cardstock if that happens to you, and just trim off that little piece. Alright, so there's my embossed on designer series paper background with some texturing, some color flanking, right, to have those two colors working together. Now we're going to make the sentiment tag. Okay, so I've got my medallion, I've got a little bow, and I've got this sentiment tag. I'm going to use Hello from, what did I say, the Biggest Wish stamp set. Okay, I'm using the blocky Hello. I'm going to emboss this as well. So I'm going to stamp that, ink that up, and I think what I want to do is I'm going to put the medallion kind of here. I know it kind of covers my daisies, but that's okay. They're meant to be the background, right? The background. So they're going to get covered up a little, and then this one's going to come in and marry up with that. Maybe I'll move that over a little bit, more contrast here on the green. So what I want to do is stamp my Hello here, and I'm going to trim this off. There's nothing that says you can't trim off your tag. So right about there, move it here so it's flat, stamp my Hello, pull that up, I'm going to get that dusted so it doesn't dry. Okay, now let me just hit that with the heat for a second. Everybody be patient, just a second. There we go. Won't take long. So I've got my sentiment So let's go ahead and layer this up. So I'm going to add my medallion first, so I don't want it too thick, so I'm just going to do that with liquid adhesive. Okay, and I'm going to bring this over here to the edge so that a little more of that green shows, and then the white medallion is too overlapping the other two layers, so it's kind of pulling it all together. And then I've got my hello, which I could pop up, but again, I don't think I'm going to. I'm just going to use my liquid adhesive, and remember, I'm going to trim it off, so I don't want it everywhere. I just want it kind of behind there. So I'm going to put this right there, press that down for a minute, and then just like I did with that little edge of DSP, I'm just going to open my card, hold that secure, bring in with my paper snips, and just give it a trim. Trim off the part you're not using. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to have a little glue dot. This is like linen twine, linen thread. I just took 8 inches, folded it in half, made a little tiny bow. And I'm just adding that with a glue dot. And put that right down there. So isn't that fun? Stamping on DSP. So I created a really fun background just with one stamp and some DSP, which we all have a ton of DSP, I know. And then dressed it up with a fun sentiment. Kind of cool. Alright, let's see what I can do with the mango one. Alright, so this time I have Mango Melody, I have my DSP, and I have some more dies cut. So this time I have a piece of black. Do I want to use the black? Yeah, maybe I want to use the black. Okay, so I have a piece of 1/2 inch black cardstock, like a paper ribbon, and I ran it through with the greenery embossing folder, so it's got some texture on it. And what I want to do is I want to stamp my sentiment and emboss this as well. So I'm going to use hello in the curvy letters this time, and I've got the smaller die. So I'm just going to stamp that there. Go ahead and get that dusted before it dries. Did you guys know that you can stamp and dust and then do a bunch of embossing after? As long as you get that embossing powder on there and don't touch it. Sometimes that's a problem, is having it someplace safe where you don't have to touch it. It'll be good for a little while, so I can just set that aside now it's dusted. Okay, now I have to create a sentiment. So I wanted to do a couple more daisies and cut them out. Now I'm debating whether I really want to do that. Yeah, I think I do. Alright, so we're going to do a little more embossing. So I'm going to bring my stamp back in for a minute. Okay, settle this kind of apart. And I'm going to go ahead and ink up a portion of my stamp. So I think what I want to do is, see on the stamp, this one and this one kind of stand out. Or maybe that one and that one. Maybe this one and this one. Okay, so I need to position my cardstock under where those two are going to get stamped. That should work. And now I'm just going to ink up that portion of my stamp. Bring that over, stamp that down. And I'm going to go ahead and dust this panel. Now the whole panel is going to get dusted and embossed, right? Because the whole thing has a stamp on it. But I think what I'm going to do is cut those daisies out. So let's see after I emboss it what I do. So I've got the little tag and I've got the flowers to emboss. Alright, here we go. See it starting to turn? And I'm going to do my little hello. So let's go ahead and put another card together. So I've got some fun layers, right? I thought I would lay those up. I've got this little piece of black. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to put down the DSP. Okay? So I'm just going to put this on. Good adhesive. Wow, it likes to just dry up on me today. Okay. Sorry about the little dry bug. And keep going. Put my liquid on. I want to get close to my edges, but I don't want to get too much that it's going to seep out. Alright. Bye, tulips. Here come the daisies. Okay, I'm going to put this a little bit up because I want to put my sentiment down on the bottom. So, leaving a little bit of a border on the top. I didn't square it right to the top. I left a little bit of a border, and I'm just pressing that down. You can flip it over to press it down, whatever suits your mood. I've got the vellum piece, just kind of for a layer. I've got my hello. I think what I want to do is put this across it like a little belt. All the way across? Yeah, maybe all the way across, like a belt. And then what I want to do is just trim out a couple of, maybe one daisy. We'll do one daisy. Alright, I'm going to come in. This would be fun just as a tag by itself, but if I change my idea too much, guys, we'd be here a long time. So I'm just going to fussy cut close to, but not worry about getting right on the flower's edge. Okay? It's just an embellishment. It's not... doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be isolated. It can be just kind of fussily done. That's why we call it fussy cutting, right? Alright. But I have to remember that if I just want a fun tag, stamp this and then just trim it out to be tags, right? Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and put this layer down with some adhesive. Because I know I'm going to put that black paper across the middle, I can put my adhesive right on the middle. I'm not worried about it showing. I'm going to put that up. Okay, now I'm going to put some adhesive on my black cardstock. This is just going to be like a paper ribbon. It's going to go across the center of that die that I just put down. It looks like I'm going to have to trim the edges, but that's okay. We can trim the edges. I'm going to put my sentiment on with dimensionals, just to give it a little bit of pop. Alright. I'm going to put that in the center as well. I like it. You guys like it? You gotta leave me comments. Let me know if you like it. And then I've got this one daisy. I could do two. I don't know. Maybe I want to do two. I think I'll do one for time, but I might end up adding the other one after. So that I'm going to pop up on a dimensional 2. Why not? And I think I'm going to put it over here. So I'm just going to pop that up right there. Open this up, trim off those ends. I'm going to hold it with my finger so I don't push it off because it's still kind of drying. Come back and do this side. I think we did it, guys. I think we've got 2 cards. So again, today I was working with Stamping On Designer Series paper. Remember to flip that paper over and use the sides that are maybe less popular, right? Less used, but you can create a really fun card, kind of creating a dual background using the DSP for layer 1 and then a stamp for layer 2, and then just give it a really fun embellished sentiment tag. So there you go. So I hope you liked the presentation today. Again, I used Daisy Garden and Biggest Wish for my stamps. I did heat embossing, and you can find all the details on my blog, so just follow the link. And if you're shopping for supplies, please stop by my store. The link is below, and I appreciate your business, and I will send you a thank you kit in the mail for your own crafting pleasure. Alright everybody, have a great day and do some fun stamping. Bye-bye.